The Hercules Audio Noah. Let's talk about it. The Hercules Audio Noah is an expensive IEM. It costs around $400, but with tariffs and with shipping, cost me a little over $500 to get into my country, the United States. We'll talk more about that later. But this was got by a Australian company called DMZ Audio. They've treated me well. I recommend them to anybody. Let's start by looking at the build quality of this IEM, and then we'll go from there. I like this IEM shell. It fits me well. It kind of has a gold nozzle and some nice, beautiful writing on the back. It's metallic. It's cozy. It's a nice looking shell that I feel like I've seen on other IEMs. It's a nice mold with an anti-tragus catch, and it's a great, comfortable shell. It has Divinus velvets and a little clean brush with it. It also has a USB-C DAC, which I don't have today because I left it at work today, unfortunately. It also has a very nice cable, red and black indicating left and right, a functioning chin slider, working Y-split. It feels extremely comfortable in hand, and it's hard to find good Pentacon cables, so it's always nice to know when you get an IEM, it has nice cables. One of the better cables I've ever experienced, and it terminates in a 4.4. It also has kind of a cute little case with it, not too exciting, but you know, it's a nice plush little case. So how does the Hercules Audio Noah sound? I really liked it at Can Jam, and I still like it a lot. It's an interesting IEM that has a way to be somewhat vocal forward in the vocal presentation. It's a slight colorization, and it's a nice, well done, clean bass. It's one of those IEMs that I think people are going to like, especially fans of the Diva, the fans of Lee's series. I know it kind of has some of that DNA, and we'll show you in the graph. So it has a very forward graph, nice bass, affordable price, nice overall packaging. But what are its faults? What are things that it does well? It does a lot well. And it's a really competent, well-rounder, but it has some unique quirks. And I want to talk about those with you now in the graph section. Right, let's look at the Hercules Audio Noah graph. And what do you notice? A lot of bass. Like if we normalize this at 500, you'll notice it has quite a bit of bass, quite a bit of upper mids, a little bit beyond my normal tolerancy of that. It's one of those IEMs that has forward vocals, and it doesn't feel like it has good clarity and nice details, but it might not be that meta tuning that everybody's wanting. I call this a good audiophile style tuned IEM. And we'll talk about a lot of other IEMs today to try to explain what I mean by that and kind of get a gist of how I feel what this IEM is. First of all, I want to talk about the Volk Audio Etoile. I got to demo both of these on the show floor, and I wasn't a fan of the Etoile. I feel like it had a lot of problems. It wasn't very clean or clear. I feel like this hump made it sound a little bit honky, and it lacked a lot of upper that presence region. It just did not work for me in any regards. The Noah, to me, it impresses me every day that I listen to it, and in some ways, this is kind of like a preview. Almost like a re-review, because this is a purchase unit, and I have a lot of other stuff coming in, and so I want to get through the Hercules Audio Noah review before we go into other things. So having said that, like I've reviewed the Etoile, I'm not sure if I'm interested in putting that out there, but to me, this has this 1K hump, and it doesn't really work for me. And so people that are sensitive or don't really like an early like Pinot rise, it may not be an effective IEM for you. If we look at other IEMs, this reminds me a lot of the Diva. Now the Diva is discontinued, but if we look at all the settings, you can look at this on my graph rig. You'll notice it has 3 different bass settings. It has the red view, which is the lowest one. That's actually in blue right here, in light blue. We're going to get rid of that one. It also has kind of the white version, which is kind of there. But you'll notice like none of them really hit my target in the same way like the Noah does. So to me, this does have a very nice region to it. The Diva is really clean, really clear. And it's, I don't know, sometimes I feel like it's it's very competitive versus the two. Like I probably would go with the Noah just because of price, build quality, cable, and just not having to worry about it because it's made out of metal, whereas the Diva is not. And so I just feel like the Noah has a lot, and I mean a lot going on for it, and it's a very solid set where I think it's competitive with stuff like the Diva, especially because it has this same style of upper mids, although the Noah and its upper treble and kind of mid treble region is not the same. Let's look at all of Elysian's other stuff that they have, because some of it's interesting and makes good comparisons. The first one I want to show you is the Pilgrim. We'll talk about Annie in a second. But with the Pilgrim, I wanted to like the Pilgrim. But I don't know what it was about the treble, but it felt overly exhausting and just almost like someone's trying to be like, hey, listen to all this. It just felt trebly for me. That doesn't mean the Pilgrim's a bad IM, but I don't feel it's in the same class as the Noah. And again, I'm talking about my personal opinion, not what's truth. But to me, the Noah is what the Pilgrim should have been. If we look at other things like the Annihilator, kind of the most beloved one universally, you'll notice it has similar kind of that style of upper mids. The Annihilator 2023 has this kind of meaty base shelf, which the Noah doesn't, but it also has really nice and almost really clean bass. I think in some ways it might be better, and it also doesn't have this crazy 10K spike, which means its treble isn't as exciting. But it's also not as impressive as something like the Annihilator. So they kind of trade blows. You look at something like the Apostle. The Apostle does have better instrument separation, better treble, better detail. This area up here, where you can see in the Apostle, will let's make that a different color, maybe orange. It does feel more twinkly, more sparkly, more imaginative, and the treble presentation, the Apostle, I feel is exceptional, and it is really well done, and I would go with it instead. You also have something like the Noir. Now, the Noir was a nice set, but I don't think it was that much different from the Pilgrim, and I think that was kind of its problem, is that it didn't really... Everybody thought it was an Apostle that cost twice as much, and I mean, there's even a new collab that Effect Audio is doing with Dunu, which I like both of those companies, but I don't know, it seems a little bit interesting when they do cable company collabs, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not, who knows, but I do feel that the Apostle is better than these guys, and you can see some of the similar DNA. The Noir lacked attack. It just felt a little bit laid back, whereas the Noah really pumps this region up, pumps the mid bass up, pumps the bass up, and it just has an overall really nice presentation for sound, and I would go with the Noah and a heartbeat over the Noir. I really kind of felt last year the Noir and the Pilgrim were very lackluster IMs, just didn't have that excitement, that umph, that pizzazz. The Noah has this dynamic presence about it, which I think is really impressive. Other IMs, this is going to be compared by a lot of people versus the YU9 Shuei, because they both kind of got hyped at the same time. Now, being the Noah does have this dynamic umph to it. There's something about the Noah where I'm calling it kind of like its bass and its presence, and it's just full and rich and clean and good and just hard hitting fun. Whereas the Shuei is a little bit more trebly, a little bit better air and treble and detail. And so if you're like a treble head, I would go with the Shuei. If you're a bass head, I would go with the Noah. And to be honest, I think these two are really good complementary sets. Like if someone had both, I would be like, oh yeah, I see that. They're really nice to have with each other, and they both have some similar tonalities. I do think the Noah is more comfortable, and it comes with a better stock cable and better accessories. I think the Shuei has a kind of a poor stock cable. The fact that Noah comes with that DAC, the dongle DAC, is also an advantage. So these two trade blows. Another IEM that's probably around this price right now is the Night Oblivion Buddhist Door. It also kind of has that 1K hump. I know there's a new one that's coming out. It's just something kind of to think about. Again, the Noah is a very strong IEM, and I would say it's way better than something like the Buddhist Door. But the Buddhist Door, it's a fine IEM, just not on that level. Doesn't have that bass, doesn't have that dynamic impact that the Noah has. Um, what else are we going to talk about? Another IM I want to talk about is the Softears RSV MK2. This is a real big friend of mine. This has kind of a little bit thicker, a little bit more meaty bass, but it doesn't feel that way. I feel like the Noah and the RSV both have different styles of bass, and they're both well done in the presentation and the overall dynamicness of that IEM. The RSV is going to be a lot more mainstreamed. If people that are fans of, say, like Listener or Mark or Critical, the RSV is probably going to be the closer bet. If you're a fan of the Diva, if you're a fan of Lee's tuning, something like the Audio Noah is a really nice version of Lee's tuning. And I know that they do have a version of the audio, the Hercules Audio Moses, which I got to hear at Can Jam. I thought I was a fan of. And I have never listened to it, but I definitely willing to check it out. But it's a little expensive for me and where I'm going with my collection right now in the hobby. Another IEM that I think has better treble than this. It's a little bit more clean, something like the Nice Hack Rockies. And I think this has way better treble, and it just kind of shows you what the Hercules Audio Noah doesn't have is great treble, great details. But what it has over a lot of other sets is a fun presentation, a vocal forward feel to it, and a great majestic sense about it. All right, the Hercules Audio Noah. Let's rank this up. I think this is a strong IEM. I think for its price, it's pretty good. Now you'll notice here for price, I put $525. This is what I basically had to pay with import taxes and everything. So I know a lot of people are really interested in this IEM. Personally, if you're in the United States, I would wait until you can get it for under this price point. I think depending on what you got, there might be better options. But with tariffs and all the political scene we have in the States right now, it's kind of a little bit wild. These are my Can Jam notes. I wrote clean, vocals just amazing, clean and clear. It's really fantastic. And I think now that I've had a time to really kind of settle down, I really see its weakness. And that's why I gave it a 10 for bass. And you'll notice it's one of the cheaper S-tiered IEMs. There's a few others that have gotten a 10 as well. But most of those are really expensive. Like the Punch Audio Martillo is another one you could think about if you just want bass. But I think it has, I think the presentation overall of the Noah, I think it's a little bit better and a little bit more engaging, at least in my opinion with it. Although the Punch Audio Martillo, I think for its price, is one of the better IEMs out there, especially those that love bass. And so, you can kind of see where I feel about it right now. And I think it's one of those IEMs that doesn't have that twinklies and sparklies. From what I understand about the Noah is they kind of took the Hercules Audio Moses and kind of took out the ESTs and tried to dial back the technology and try to do it with BAs rather than ESTs. And I think they've done an effective job in that to help kind of promote their brand. And this is a really nice IEM for what it's worth. Now, I do have a list of 5-star IEMs. And for the Hercules Audio Noah, I'm not going to be adding it to this list. And the reason for that is this list is only IEMs that are sub $500. If you can find them for $500, it gets a full-blown recommendation. But with all the tariffs right now, I would encourage you guys to wait or maybe find it on the used market where you can find a slightly better bargain. There's a lot of other stuff coming out. Like Ziggett has some great stuff like the Lunar, the Crescent, and even the Horizon coming out is going to be impressive. So I think if you're looking for a true value proposition, I don't really know if the Noah is it, but it is special, it is lovely, and it is unique. The Hercules Audio Noah. It's an interesting set. It has a fantastic build quality, fantastic cable. It's beautiful. I really like it, and I encourage you guys to demo at a show or try it if you can. If this is at your limits and this sounds like a good IEM, it gets a strong recommendation. Again, the finer details of this IEM can be a little bit lacking, a little bit dull, a little bit boring, but that's its only fault. It's not a bad set. It's just that there's a lot of treble focus sets. This is kind of a mid to / bass forward set. And so it has this kind of interesting, fun, unique presentation that never ceases to amaze me. all the listening sessions I've had have been really enjoyable, really fun. All the ABs I've done for this versus other things confirms to me that the treble is a little bit daunting for my taste and for the other IEMs I got to try versus it. But having said that, I still think this is a good IEM. Hype worthy? Yeah, maybe. But not it's not the greatest IEM that'll ever come, will ever be. But I do think it does a unique presentation to sound that you're not always going to find everywhere you go. If you guys have any questions or comments about this IEM, let me know via the comments below. And I hope you guys have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go!
Go on with you!